Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and Week 10 was a week that featured a lot of surprises, some big upsets, playoff races really starting to heat up. A lot of fun games coming up in Week 11, some big contests that will shape the playoff picture for weeks to come, so let's start picking these games. We got some fun ones.
Yeah, like Ryan said, a lot of weird games that went on
For sure.
in Week 10, and we start on Thursday Night Football with two teams that you might not have expected to win. Maybe you would expect Cleveland to win. This game is Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Ryan did expect Cleveland to win. Cleveland was playing against the Bills, and Pittsburgh was playing against the Rams.
Wow.
So both of these teams coming off of some pretty good wins. I just think that Pittsburgh is the better team overall. I think Cleveland's been too inconsistent for me so far. If that offense could pick it up, I'd like to see what they can start doing in the future. But that defense for the Steelers is too good for me, and Mason Rudolph and that offense are getting enough done. So I got Pittsburgh winning it 24-21.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. Two AFC North rivals, but this Cleveland team, after that big win against Buffalo, they needed that win, or else I think their season would pretty much have been done. But that was a big win for them. They're 3-6. Pittsburgh's 5-4. So this is a big win for them if they want to try and keep pace. I think they get it here. I think the Browns are going to be trending upward in this later part of the year. Cleveland takes it 26-21.
Yeah, Ryan said the Cleveland Browns got a huge win. They needed that one desperately, as you also mentioned. But I think Pittsburgh, a team that's been coming off a couple wins in a row now, they got something going. I think they keep it going, go into Cleveland, and win 27-19. Now our next game, the Cowboys and the Lions. Cowboys and Lions both losing last week. The Cowboys to the Vikings and the Lions to the Bears. So both these teams, as I just mentioned, coming off their loss, they want to try and bounce back. I think Detroit has been inconsistent as usual. So they look good sometimes. Jeff Driscoll didn't play. He was expected to be out for 1 to 3 weeks. We'll see whether Stafford is able to come back next week. Knowing him, I'm sure he will. Before this game, he didn't miss a game since 2010, I believe. So even though that happens, I think Dallas wins this one 24-14.
I'm with you. I think despite that loss, I think Dallas is a team that is just, they're more of a complete team. I think their offense is really going to improve a lot as this. You saw those catches Amari Cooper was making. Ezekiel Elliott down game, but I think he'll get back on track. And Dak Prescott, really, it's him, and he likes his targets. He likes Amari Cooper. And really, Jason Witten, the ageless wonder, he's in that broadcast booth a year ago, and he's still making plays at the NFL level this year. I like Dallas to take it 34-27.
Mm-hmm. And I'm with you guys with Dallas, but my only question here is, what was Ezekiel Elliott doing last night for us on Sunday Night Football? I don't know when you're watching this. I'm not even close to last night by the time you're watching this, but Ezekiel Elliott could not get much of anything done, and that was something that needs to be fixed for next week. But Amari Cooper had some spectacular catches. I think there were like 3 catches that he had where he just toe tap sideline, like each one, if just one happened to be a huge highlight reel. He got 3 in one game, so he played really well. But I do think Dallas will be able to pull this one out 28-24 in Ford Field. As we move on to the next game, the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. The Jacksonville Jaguars coming off a bye, and the Colts in their home stadium, Lucas Oil, this week. But they lost to the Dolphins last week, and yes, they did have Brian Hoyer, but this is a Colts team that was looking good. Then they lost Brissett, and then it started kind of going downhill from there. So the Colts are struggling as of right now. I'm not sure about all the status of Jacoby Brissett at this time, but I do think that the Colts will come off a bounce-back win, one that they need in the division, 21-17. Nick Foles might be back for this game, but the Colts will take it.
Yeah, and really quick, I just want to say, Brian Hoyer, you mentioned was starting for the Colts for that game. If you remember way back when Brian Hoyer was on the Texans, he started that wild card playoff game. The Texans lost that game 30-0 at home to Kansas City a few years ago. So I just want to say, Brian Hoyer, I forgive you. So it's all good, man. We're good, appreciate you helping us win the division. But anywho, I like Jacksonville in this one. Nick Foles coming back. People just forgot about him. I'm pretty sure they already announced Nick Foles is coming back. So Nick Foles coming back. I think he's really a guy that people just kind of forgot about, but I think he comes back in a big way and helps Jacksonville take this one 31-21.
Nick Foles coming back is a huge part to this game. But I think it also shows on the Indianapolis sides how big of a part of the team Jacoby Brissett was. Because when he's been gone, they haven't been playing as well as they were before. This is assuming that Jacoby Brissett comes back. I have the Colts winning this one, 26-21. Now our next game, the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Something I didn't expect to be saying this season at all. The Dolphins coming off two
in a row.
wins in a row. That's shocking stuff.
I mean, really.
What happened to the tanking? I mean, once again, they did watch that game on Saturday, the LSU-Alabama game, and they said, Tua's not doing very good. Let's go out and win. Brian Flores, that's what he told his team.
There you go.
Guarantee. No, it's not a guarantee. But I think even though they're at home, Buffalo, still a good team. Even though they came off a loss last week, they win 22-16.
Yeah, I am really concerned with Buffalo as far as for them to be a contender because they don't really score a lot of points, and down the stretch I think that will hurt them, but I think they are able to take this one 26-14.
I'm with you. I would have said almost exactly what you said, Ryan. I'm going Buffalo, 20-14. Move on to the Denver Broncos at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings won on primetime football with Kirk Cousins against the Cowboys. We talked about that earlier. And the Broncos, I believe they were on bye this week. Well, yes, they were. So we didn't see them in this past week. But the Vikings coming off of a big win away at AT&T Stadium. But they're back at home, and they're playing a Denver team that's been too inconsistent for me this year. They'll be on their third-string quarterback, so I think Minnesota will be able to take this one 27-23, and they'll keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, this is a really good game for the Vikings because after getting that big win at Dallas in primetime with people saying, "Oh, Kirk Cousins isn't that good. He can't win in primetime. They can't win the big game against the good teams." Kirk Cousins really silenced a lot of the doubters last night, so I think that was a big win for him and that team, but especially for him with all the harsh criticism he's been facing. I think Minnesota keeps their momentum going. Naturally because it's Denver, it'll be a close loss, but I think Minnesota takes it 27-24 and keeps their momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, Denver has been playing better as of recently. But I think Minnesota at home, they're going to be too much for this Denver team to handle. Given that Vic Fangio has done a good job of stopping Kirk Cousins last year with the Bears as their defensive coordinator, but I still think Minnesota gets the job done. They win 27-24.
Yeah, I like that score. It's a really good one.
I know, thank you.
We were all really in the same ballpark. I was 27-23.
Oddball.
I think that's going to happen again soon. From
I
what I did earlier.
23 points.
All right, our next game, the Saints at the Bucks. The Saints, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think there's probably about 2% chance, or 2% of people that were probably picking the Falcons to win that game. And guess what they did? They were 1-7. Now they're 2-7. They won the game against the Saints and the Bucks. Talk about inconsistent. This is where they are too. I mean, of course, they stay in their games that they play. They just cannot win. I think they do that again in this game, but ultimately lose. New Orleans takes it 32-30.
Yeah, you look at Tampa. They've played some good teams really well. And even games that they've lost, they've been in it. They've played down to the wire in a lot of their games. In New Orleans, it's like, what happened? The Texans were on bye, so I was just flipping around a lot on Sunday to take a watch a lot of games. And I got to this game, and I was like, what? Like, they're not scoring, like, any points against a team that's 1-7 in New Orleans. Like, it just didn't add up. Like, usually with some of the upsets, you say, okay, well, this happened. It just did not make sense. I think it was just a little hiccup. New Orleans is still one of the best in the NFC. They bounce back and take this one 31-27.
I think the only explanation for this game is that it was a divisional game against opponents that really know each other. So that could be something. And Atlanta coming off of a bye, and they really were trying to prove everyone wrong that they were still a somewhat relevant team. Now, obviously, they were 1-7, 2-7 after this week. But we're going away from Atlanta and back to New Orleans. To this game, I do like what Tampa Bay has been doing, especially in these past few recent games. Their offense has been getting going a lot. But I think they're going to come up short to a New Orleans Saints team who is going to try to fight their hardest for a win in this game. New Orleans wins 31-28. Next game is the New York Jets at the Washington Redskins. Jets coming off of a win against the Giants. And then Washington is still winless. So
What?
Oh no, they won against the Dolphins.
Was 17
They were
to
2-7.
16. Come on, don't sell them short.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
They did win a game.
Yeah.
My bad.
Let's not forget Ryan picked them to win the division.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
We'll make fun. We'll make fun of our predictions at the end of the year.
But we.
Who was your Super Bowl MVP?
It's not my fault he retired.
Well, could you
It
answer
was
the
Andrew
question?
Luck.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck.
We'll make fun of ourselves a ton at the end of the year. Don't worry.
That's what I was going to say. Dwayne Haskins will be starting the rest of the year, so the future is now for the Washington Redskins. This is kind of going to be huge for them in their hopes for the future, because if Haskins has been struggling, if he continues to struggle, it's not going to be good for the Washington Redskins. And I think it's going to be a good day for the Jets, who are coming off a good win. They're going to beat the Washington Redskins 23-21. A close game, but a fun game between two below-the-pack teams.
Yeah, they are below the pack, but I look at Dwayne Haskins and I see a guy with a lot of potential if he just has time to develop, if he's in a good situation. You know, he wasn't really in a good situation. You know, there were some rumors that not everybody on the Redskins was on board with him being drafted by them. Then he doesn't start right away. Then they get off to that bad start. Then the coach gets fired. Then he does start. Then he doesn't. Then he's kind of like this weird half-starter thing. And now he's finally getting his opportunity. And let's not forget, Dwayne Haskins and Terry McLaurin were both teammates at Ohio State, so I think their connection looms large in this game, and Washington takes it 27-20 for their second win of the year. Number 2, Jordan.
Well, the Jets already have 2 wins. And going to the Washington side of things, I feel bad for Dwayne Haskins. You kind of touched on it. I feel like Dwayne Haskins is the guy who went into Washington. There's already a dumpster fire there. I mean, with the problems with the head coach and the GM and all this. And now he's going to be put in the rest of the season. They're telling him that, and they're saying, "Hey, we got a dumpster fire. You're a new firefighter. We need you to go put this out.
Boy.
We need to go put this out right now
Yeah.
because we don't have much time." And that's just a tough task to ask for someone that's just starting to get ready for what's about to come. I think that's going to show here. Jets win it 20-13.
Did you use a dumpster because the Washington Redskins are trash?
That was part of the metaphor, yeah. All right, our next game. That was rude, so you might want to apologize to Dwayne.
No, it was you. I was asking.
This whole operation was your idea.
It's true.
I
All
was
right.
just asking your question.
Sorry, Dwayne. I think you'll be good, but not in a good situation. Our next game, the Falcons at the Panthers. The Panthers, they kept it close with the Packers on the road in Lambeau. Always tough to
Not this
win
close.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a couple
Oh,
inches.
and then plus the 2-point
Plus the
conversion.
2-point,
What
yeah.
had to come.
I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, and Atlanta.
Good question.
I mean, we talked about them already. I just think that's a fluke on the New Orleans side. I don't think they're gonna be able to rejuvenate themselves that much. Carolina wins in a close one though, 24-23.
Yeah, I truly believe that it wasn't perfect, and obviously they lost, but I think Carolina certainly held their own with that young quarterback, Kyle Allen, in a tough environment in the snow. You know, I think they're still a team that could contend for a wild card spot, so I think Atlanta was just kind of a one-game fantasy for them. I think they get back to reality. Carolina takes it 28-24.
I disagree with you two about Atlanta. I am actually, I am
Don't get too scared,
getting a little
man.
bit higher on Atlanta. I think their defensive
Wow.
line especially played a lot better. Desmond Trufant, I don't believe, played in that game, but he's not defensive line anyways. But their defensive line got a lot of sacks. They played well, and the offense, they showed up. I think they're going to be able to do it again at Carolina, 31-24.
That.
Yeah.
Is Atlanta going 9-7?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Long pause. No.
Yeah. Took a little too long.
Next game is the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens annihilating the Bengals. Who's surprised?
No.
Hands go up. But I'm surprised
Ryan Finley.
that game was that. I mean, you expected them to destroy them, but wow.
I
Yeah.
didn't expect that.
That was like a college football game.
It's like Ohio State.
So
and Maryland.
Baltimore's been playing very well, and Houston coming off a bye. This should be a really fun game. Two very high-powered offenses and two pretty okay defenses. Baltimore has been playing better in recent weeks, and Houston's been aight. It should be a fun one, but I think that the Ravens will be able to pull it off. It's going to be a close one. I think it's going to come down to a final drive for the Houston Texans. They just will. It will be 4th and 7, and they will not be able to pick up a first down.
Very specific.
They'll be at the 23-yard line.
Oh, boy. This actually
35-33. Baltimore will win.
Oh, we're not gonna kick a field goal. Anywho, okay.
35 to 30 or 31. I meant to say.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes a big difference. But
Yeah.
anyway, you're right.
They're not gonna
This
get a field goal.
Yeah.
They're 3 points.
yeah.
That's
This-
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah. But
Sorry, Bill. I was just joking.
Were you? Okay, so yeah, you mentioned
Wow.
two really good teams. I think this is a big one for the AFC playoff picture. You know, the winner is going to be in a prime position to be in at least the 2 seed and maybe the 1 seed because, you know, Baltimore already beat New England and Houston plays them in early December. But I'm really excited just to watch the matchup between Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. Two guys that are similar. They have good arms, good legs. Really gotten better through the young stages.
It's really good ligaments.
Sure.
Yeah,
But ultimately,
that's a good point.
I just think this game being in Baltimore, the way Lamar Jackson has been, just like, you haven't been able to stop Lamar Jackson. Like Deshaun Watson, that Texans offense, they've had an off week here or there. Even in some games they've won, it just hasn't been pretty. But Baltimore is just really playing clean, complimentary football right now, and I think that's why they take this one 35-28. Should be a really fun one to watch, though.
Houston's been doing good this year, but Baltimore, I mean, I think they're on the next level. They have potential to be the number 1 seed in the AFC because of the fact that the offense has revolved around what Lamar Jackson can do. A lot of times you see offenses just doing what they want to do and throwing quarterbacks in and say, you have to do this. That's not what they did at all. They did exactly what Lamar Jackson needs in an offense, and they're successful. And it's going to continue to go this way. A high-scoring game, 35-28. Same score as Ryan.
Yeah.
Close to Jordan's. So that's our second time we've had the same score.
Really.
I foreshadowed it earlier. I told you it was coming. All right, our next game, the Cardinals at the 49ers. We are yet to see what the 49ers can do tonight against the Seahawks. We're filming this
That should
before
be a
the
fun
game.
game.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You guys already know the outcome as you're watching this. If not,
If not,
just
then
ask Siri or something. You'll find out.
Hey Siri, what was the score of the Seattle Seahawks versus 49ers game on Monday Night Football?
All right.
Like,
She will go back. Okay. After that, I think that let's just say if they're undefeated, they stay undefeated. If they have 1 loss, they stay at 1 loss. They win this one 30-20.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see Nick Bosa beat up on Kyler Murray again. San Francisco takes it 37-19.
You just saw this game.
I know.
across the board, we got San Francisco winning in Levi Stadium 27-21. The 49ers hit gold, as he likes to say. It's his metaphor that was. He thinks he created it, but I'm pretty sure Ryan created it.
He created it. I enhanced it.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Next
So,
game.
The college team, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Oakland Raiders. Sorry, Cincinnati Bengals, but it's been junk. It's been junk. Just be honest.
Junk fire.
And I've been starting to really like what Oakland has been doing, so I'm trying to not talk about them too much because I could talk about them a lot, but I love what Derek Carr's been able to do. Josh Jacobs has been playing great. That receiving core is doing great. Darren Waller, all those guys, Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, they've been playing great. That defense, they played pretty good against the Chargers. I mean, Phillip Rivers didn't have his best game, but you can't put. I mean, there's defense has got to make the plays out of the way. They made the plays, and it should be a no-brainer. Oakland will win this one at home in the black hole, 30-17, and the Bengals will not get another win.
Yeah.
Not get a win.
And not get anyone. So, you know, you look at the Bengals, you know.
He said any wins.
Well, right now, because this will make them, you know, they'll still be winless. But, hey, there's Week 16, Dolphins, Bengals, game of the year. But, anywho, you got the Bengals. They're going to be led out there by their new quarterback, Joe Burrow. I mean, that's next year, Ryan Finley. Sorry, Bengals fans, I had to do that. But anyway, I know. Ryan Finley, you know, let's just say he didn't have the greatest debut. And
Nope.
this is an Oakland team, you mentioned, Jordan. They're on the rise. They looked really good their past 2 weeks, making late defensive stops when they needed to. I think that's really a key thing that we're not talking about enough, and that really the media isn't talking about enough. The Detroit game, Detroit was on the goal line. They stopped them. And the Chargers game on Thursday night, you know, missing the extra point. Now they could win it with a field goal, and they just shut down that Chargers offense. So Raiders are a team on the rise, and they're only a half game back at Kansas City right now with the Chiefs losing to Tennessee. So, I mean, sure, wild card, but even the AFC West is not a question right now. Oakland takes it 30-20.
Yeah, I can agree with you guys. I feel like Cincinnati. You know when you go to the zoo, right? And you're always looking to see that lion or that tiger exhibit, but they're always just locked up. You know, you can never see them. They're always in the back. That's been the Cincinnati Bengals the entire
Well, it's
year.
really just
They've been caged
You
up.
just can go to like the Cub exhibit and just see the little Cubs.
Yeah, but you want to see those big ferocious animals like Bengals.
I
I,
think,
know there's not
you know,
Bengals at zoos, but
I mean,
it just works out that way.
I'm more
They've
of a
been
little
caged up.
baby animal myself, but
They're just caged animals. They have been the entire season. It stays that way. Playing a good Oakland team, underrated Oakland team. Oakland wins 27-21.
Zach Taylor is locking them up.
Zach's the zookeeper Taylor.
Yeah. All right. Our next game, the Patriots and the Eagles. We got a Super Bowl rematch. No Nick Foles in this game, so the Patriots will be good. I'm gonna keep it simple. They win 31-28.
That's simple.
Nah, Philadelphia, they're a weird team. They don't always start out good, but through the middle/end of the season, they find ways to win football
That's a
games.
good point.
Yeah, they've been looking better lately, against Buffalo and Chicago, 2 good wins. So I've got Philadelphia taking this one. New England, 2 straight losses. Philadelphia takes it 41-33.
Well, New England was my Super Bowl prediction, and although
Says that every
the
time he
Ravens
picks the
lost,
Patriots.
Yeah.
although the Ravens loss was not great, Ravens have been playing very good, and I am a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. They've been doing some pretty good things, but I don't think they'll be able to do enough. The New England defense will show up once again, maybe
hope
not
so.
in the ways that they've been
Yeah.
doing before, but they will
Stay in the locker
they'll
room.
be
Yeah, it's
present.
just 11-0.
Yeah. I think Bill Belichick was talking about just going 1v12 or 11, not 12.
Well, it'll be too many men.
Yeah.
Probably. That'll work out
You
for
tricked
them.
them. New England will win this one in a close one, 24-20. As we move on to the Sunday night game, the Chicago Bears versus the LA Rams. The LA Rams coming off a loss at the Steelers, we talked about already, and the Bears coming off a win to the Detroit Lions. I was just talking really fast because I thought it was going to be really fun. I'm going to start talking slower now.
I like staring down the camera too.
Yeah. Please don't do that. We want views.
No, look how many people just clicked off the video.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. So, Chicago Bears at the LA Rams. I already said that.
Oh wow.
So, the Bears team is something that is very near and dear to mine and Tyler Hart, so we know a lot about them, so I'll try to keep it short, my explanation with them. But against the Lions, Trubisky played the game that everyone would want him to play. Now, he didn't play great, but he played the way that we needed him to play. And obviously, number 2 overall pick, okay, maybe you would want more overall, but he played the game that all of Chicago and all the Bears fans and all the team was just really needing him to play. And they won. But there's still other things that people are talking about, and the defense maybe not as good. So I was just made that statement because I'd like to take a shout out to Mitchell Trubisky for a good game. Everyone's talking about the bad things here in Chicago, even though they won. Talk about the good things. Trubisky played a good game, maybe not the best game in the whole world. As I said, I was going to talk about this for 5 years. I ended up talking for 5 years anyways. The Rams, Jared Goff has not been playing his greatest football. That Rams team, they are inconsistent, which is nothing weird to say. So I'll let Ryan talk about the Rams because they are his Super Bowl prediction. Maybe he'll go off on a rant like I did. But I have Chicago winning. I haven't had them losing yet, and it's not going to end here. 24-18, Chicago picks up another W.
Thank you, Jordan, for your very concise analysis there.
Yeah,
you got right to the point.
Yeah.
Like, that was.
Yeah. You didn't talk about you
Yeah.
didn't dwell on Mitchell Trubisky at all. You just moved
Yeah,
on.
not saying
what
it's-
dances did they do in Club Dub last week? Like, come on.
I actually
no.
I
No.
didn't watch the Club Dub. I got to
No.
watch it.
Okay.
I was
I
in
do
school.
too, actually.
Okay. And he could you really find any 2 more disappointing teams that were supposed to be contenders? Like really, these teams have a combined record of 500 with one
Maybe
game
the
for.
Browns instead of the Rams.
True, but you look at in the NFC.
That's it,
In the NFC, you got
Oh,
2
yeah.
Rams were just in the
really
Super Bowl.
disappointing teams. They're just not producing the way that people expected you. You were facing Jeff Driscoll last week. Where was your pass rush for most of the game? I feel like I should have seen
The
more.
pass rush, in my opinion, was there, but they just couldn't make tackles.
Unless you're the
Yeah,
Jeff
what's
Driscoll
his
was able
name?
to escape
I forgot
a
his name. The guy
Nick
Kwiatkowski.
yeah, he was everywhere for at least when I was watching that
Yeah,
game. I was
he
going
was.
around. But yeah, 2 teams that I'm really concerned about. I expect them to both be division winners, but now though that's not looking the case. At least not long season, but it's not looking right now. But just the Rams, well, actually they'll probably be more Bears fans there. But anywho, at home.
The Rams had more fans in the church.
Yeah, it's better, but still,
It's still not
if you
good.
got a traveling fan base, it's not going to be good. But anyhow, I just think the Rams, I look at the offense. I don't think the Bears quite have the receivers to keep up with guys like Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and if Brandon Cooks plays Cooks. I mean, Todd Gurley is disappointing, but I think it's only a matter of time. Like we talked about how Ezekiel Elliott, he had a bad game, but next week he's almost just due to bounce back. I think it's gonna be kind of like that.
About Saquon Barkley, that junk.
Okay.
Sorry, Saquon, you're screwing me over right now.
They have like 1 yard.
You got one freshman guard. Number 1 overall, buddy. I wanted Christian McCaffrey. He was so mad.
1 yard. So it's about the length of what? This. That's all you.
Not even really. He had 13 and he had 1. I don't know why you did run backwards.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook did at the end of the game.
Anyway, I've got.
This video was amplified last.
Yeah, I've got the Rams winning it 24-17.
I want to make this quick, unlike both of you guys. But the Bears, they finally came out of their hibernating state. It's about time. They've been hibernating for over a month now. That's my joke. I mean,
no, I didn't.
That's such a lie. Anyways, they came out of their hibernation.
Bears usually hibernate for 7 to 10 months.
It's true. We looked it up yesterday after I made
Grizzly
the joke.
Bears.
But you know, I think the Bears
said.
just needed a spark. And the Rams team, who's not playing that good either, I think they can go in. I'm realistic with my Bears picks. I'm going to pick what I actually think. I think the Bears can win this one. Low scoring, 20-17, Bears win it. Our last game, the Monday night game now. The Chiefs at the Chargers. Two teams who, as of recently, besides that Packers game for the Chargers, have been struggling. I mean, the Chiefs started off so good, as they usually do, and they fell again. I mean, I was hoping that for the Chiefs' sake that this would not happen again, and here we are. It happened again. I mean, it's just too predictable at this point. But I think the Chargers going to be 2 games in the same stadium with no fans in a row.
Ooh, yeah.
So I think that Kansas City will go into the same place that the Bears went into the last day and beat them the next night. Beat the Chargers 33-24.
I am concerned about Kansas City's defense. You know, the way they just let Tennessee score that many points and spoil Patrick Mahomes' return is concerning. But I'm also concerned about the Chargers' offense because there were some throws that Phillip Rivers made in that last game where, like, I didn't even know what to say. I was just like, what? Like, he was just, like, throwing it up, saying, I hope someone comes down with it rather than actually going through his progressions.
It literally did look like.
Yeah, but, like, really, like, the guy, like, I think he's had a great career, but I think he's really starting to decline, so I think this is a good opportunity for Kansas City to bounce back because, you know, AFC West is tighter than people realize, but I think Kansas City gets this one and bounces back. They take it 26-18.
I feel bad for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an MVP. He still is an MVP candidate, in my opinion. But he was a huge MVP. Can't say that word. MVP candidate.
MVP.
He won MVP last year, and he is having a great season. He was injured. He came back from the injury. I can't really talk in this last one. And he played really good. He got like 400-something yards, 3 touchdowns. But that defense is playing awful.
Jeez.
If you're watching with headphones, we apologize. It probably hurts.
I might give a warning. You'll see.
Yeah.
If I feel like editing that in.
Yes, sir.
Maybe not, though.
So, even though the Chiefs have been playing awful on the defensive side of the ball, I think that their offense will do enough against the LA Chargers at home. Kansas City Chiefs will pick one up 30-21.
Alright. Well, in those last couple
Awful.
of minutes, we kind of rambled on about the last 3 games, but
We're
done
going for 20 minutes in this
We're done.
video. We've got it for like 20.
Alright, we're done now. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you guys later.
See ya.